as we kind of get down there, we're going to be next to a hotel. So, and there's going to be some people in those rooms. So you're going to see my voice kind of drop again, just so you guys know. Definitely get those cameras up and running. Good job, Chloe.
Ava, you should put it next to the light. I feel like Zach Bagans.
I want to ask her about that other app that goes
Ava. So, what did you? Oh wait, I forgot this is being recorded.
Stop. The mouse has this slow. Yeah, I got 2 rows, 14 is fire. And then fire.
I don't put a lot of faith into it. It's not an actual measurement. Alright, so rows again. 14.
5.
Anybody else hear any names? Chloe, you hear anything?
No.
Did you hear anything along the way?
Oh, not along the way.
But
That was oh yeah, on the way I heard like 12 hospital and flowers, but I don't know.
I heard that one. Believe it or not, it's relevant to another layer space.
Oh, really?
Wow.
God said dog bowl and it said that's right.
Wow, crazy stuff. Alright, so gather around everybody. Come on in, Jeff. I don't want you to miss all the action. So those of you with cameras, I do want to kind of keep you guys on the end so that when you're shooting necessarily down the alley, spaces like this, we want to like see what's going on either way. You don't necessarily have to put the person in the vehicle this one down because the color will kind of contrast that for us. Alright, so welcome to Lodge Alley. This is a very, very interesting space. The reason why I'm asking for names, well, I guess let me explain the space first. When we came over that last crosswalk coming down State Street, that's where the original Charlestown wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown. It's a walled city. You're standing on one of the very first streets we ever had. People used to live here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here in the past. It's not a lengthy list, don't get too excited. The names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. I get those names roughly around every 6 to 7 weeks. Here's why. And last night actually kind of proved some of it. So weird. So what we're dealing with here are basically the blocks that we're standing on. So Ava, I want you to pick a brick that's not wet and maybe further back against the hotel behind you, just so that you're not stepping on it by accident, and just place your device directly on it and leave it there. And I want you to just pick a brick. Let me know if you get any high numbers out of that. So what we're dealing with here, these are Belgian blocks. Belgian blocks were said to be made out of granite. Granite does not hold an electrical charge in any way, shape, or form. So I've been studying this alley for my next podcast, so that way I can actually explain the stone tape to you a little bit further.
Sorry, I just listened to a podcast about that.
So last night when I was explaining this to my guest, I did not realize that the person that was holding the word list actually had a very weird term. I've been using that spirit box with the words in it for about 6 years now. A word showed up last night, I didn't even know what it was. I had to look it up. I'm an English major, folks. Like, I know a lot of our vocabulary. I just realized it was something very sciencey. It was cerium, something along those lines. Anyway, it is a magnetic metal that is in granite. 1 part per 1 million parts granite.
It just said 1017.
1017. That damn 7 showing up again. It's all going to make sense later, folks. But do you have any readings going on with that thing, Ava?
No.
Nothing at all?
It just had 0.
Okay, so some nights that thing will give me the normal 1.1, which is natural from the Earth. I'm not excited about that. But other nights it will give me between 8 and 11. So again, I can't explain that because granite does not hold an electrical charge. What is the stone tape theory? It's basically saying that the blocks are hanging on to the consciousness of memories and replaying it for us to be able to capture on electronic devices. So, was I expecting Benjamin and John's name to show up tonight? Not necessarily. We're in week 2 to 3 of that weird loop that I'm keeping track of. So I wasn't expecting those names. Come on through, boss. You didn't say boo this time.
No boo this time?
No boo this time.
Everybody coming back out the door.
Okay. Security, they go back and forth to the hotels. Obviously recognizing the faces. So that's the interesting part about this. But before people live here, you can go ahead and pick it up since we're not getting any readings. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. We will get the terms Freemason, Mason, Brick, but we also get the term Illuminati that will show up from time to time on a spirit box that's going through the radio stations. My question to you is, who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio that we're catching it? And second, why am I only hearing it in this space? Last year we caught it 6 times. That is a very odd term to be capturing. And we've already caught it 3 times this year. Okay. So again, that's 9 times in the past year and a half. So again, why am I getting it here? Very weird. Sometimes when I'm talking about the Freemasons, the word symbols will pop up somewhere as well. Obviously the Illuminati is known for all of their symbolism. So we do capture a lot of orbs in this space as well. That's why I have you, focused on keeping that. And watching the temperatures of these bricks, Jeff, is another reason why I have you filming, going down the alley. Now, the next space we're going to is the one where we've been getting all the clues from. It's another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through because I've been kicked out. The reason for it is all of you have the blinky lights and gizmos and the noisemakers, and it is considered residential at the end. However, I am going to stir up the activity by telling you the story outside of the alley, and all of those extra clues will start to make sense. So, with that said, once we get out of this alley, we're going to go up this way. All cameras will stop because we're cutting through a neighborhood to get to that alley. So again, if you want to take a few pictures the opposite way as we all exit, so that way you have a nice clear alley and a nice touristy, crazy ghost town looking type photograph, that would be awesome for everybody. And again, same thing with all of the cameras. If you want to do a quick turnaround, I'll walk slow through that neighborhood, and then you guys can play catch up. Is that fair?
Just a 3 shots.
Damn, girl, I need to get you a job. Seriously.
Everyone says that when they're out there. Everyone. They're like, she has to leave for them to be able to even talk to them. It's crazy.
Oh, wait.
Lodge. We're in Lodge Alley.
Oh my gosh.
See why you guys keep me around? The next space we're going to, just so you know, we're going to be discussing duels. That's why she heard 3 shots killed. Yeah. It's not 3 shots that I know of. It was 2. Obviously, it's a duel. You only get 1 shot per person. So, very interesting. Let's go put all of your clues together that you guys all caught at the Pinky Mansion site. Ava, don't leave her gear behind.
We went up to like 1 point.
I thought there was like an orb, but I realized that's like an, I know, but I want to like sweep around at the end. But that's like an infrared camera, so it's like, ooh.
All we heard is, I believe you. Kind of makes sense of all of the clues you guys have been getting. Wow, we're still getting them. Very cool. Let's see if the name of that bride pops up. So, here's how this story goes. Where we're standing right now is called Philadelphia Alley. It's easy for me to remember because that's where Eliza was buried, Philadelphia. However, it used to have several names before that, one of them being Duelers Alley. So we're going to be discussing duels. So, we all talk about one specific duel because we can actually prove that it happened. And we do get a lot of clues stirred up here. This one will bleed over. I don't expect it to bleed over to the Pinky Mansion set like it did, but it will bleed over to the rest of our time together because we're stopping at that corner and that'll be our last stop, just so you guys know. But there's a doctor that moves down here. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. We had Joseph pop up earlier. So, however, we didn't get anything relative to medicine. So I was actually, usually when his name pops up, something relative to medicine pops up.
She got hospital.
Oh, fair enough.
One against.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I said 1 against.
One against.
1 against? Like
Yes.
1 against another
Like,
person?
no, 1 against.
Oh,
When-
1 against like a duel?
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
1, like, it was like, yeah. I think it was the same thing.
Very cool. I'm gonna write that one down, but I'm gonna give you the rest of the story. It goes on in this location. You're gonna hear all those clues pop up. So he moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because his fiance, soon to be bride, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of Dr. Ladd. Dr. Ladd moves down here to Charleston to prove that he's not just after Amanda's money. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody was walking by, a local, he seen what was going on and knew the coachman was setting him up to be robbed and killed. This guy's name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for a second because you're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from, Rhode Island. R.I. shows up here a lot. But those are the two main characters, which means I need a secondary clue, so I need to know who the heck it belongs to. But anyway, Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. There's a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. But I got some friends at 59 Church Street. 59 Church Street, I'm going to stop there because we already have clues relative to that, was known as the Thomas Rose House. And that's what we call it today, just so you guys know. But you can stay at 59 Church Street with some friends. They're going to charge you rent, and you have a safe place to stay. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and him and Ralph become friends. The longer the doctor stays in Charleston, the more his practice starts to take off. He's making his own money now. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. And Amanda's coming down soon. So he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, every haunted city you go to has a cliched whistling ghost. I actually have proof. So, again, remember, I used to take my teams down there. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But, at any rate, him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. So they have to talk about these plays on the way home. One night they're going to see William III, and they're arguing over the new actress. The doctor thought she was fantastic, Ralph not so much. It gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting Amanda, the doctor's fiancée, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a jerk move, right? So, the doctor sees the ad, he rebuttals with, let's go to Dole's Alley. We're going to settle this, somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend.
I've been shot in the leg 3 days, and then I'm shot.
You got all kinds of stuff shooting
I
around.
know.
So,
They like screamed out.
yeah, as soon as I said that too. Cried again? It came up the second time? Cried. Oh. So, he did not want to kill that friend, but Ralph has his one shot. Sorry, Trent, you just happen to be in front of me. He puts the gunshot in the leg of the doctor. I don't know which one, but it was in his kneecap. He drops to the ground.
I said Sean the way. Shot, and he just said
The doctor, that's where Ralph put his one shot, was in the leg of the doctor. So, the doctor drops. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street. That's actually, I heard you, so I'm going to write all this down. So, yeah, we had Church Street as well, and Rose. So, again, ties those two together. He dies 10 days later, so it wasn't 3 days. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember that this guy was a doctor. He probably tried to bleed it out himself. So, again, the story, the campfire part of this, what all the other tourists talk about, is when you walk down here that you can hear the whistles from the doctor. We're standing outside the alley right now. We will get songs that have whistling in it. And it's the only part of the night that we get it in. Kind of the same thing about the Illuminati thing we just talked about. So the Maroon 5 song that moves like Jagger has whistling at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get the Guns N' Roses song Patience. Lots of whistling in the song Patience. So again, we will get that over here. We'll get the term whistle. We get it all the time. So when I'm spot checking this, I don't look for certain things. I just wait for it to happen. Like, I'm weirded out by we had so many of these clues come up at the Pinky Mansion site. So
I love Serge.
I'm waiting for her name. Who did he love? Come on, Doc. Tell us who you love. So, here's how I got booted out of here. This is the fun part of the story. So, told you, large doors. No fun. Did I say that out loud? I did. I'm sorry. I try not to knock the other doors. I really don't. Lots of competition down here. Can you guys tell? So, the other side of this alley is older than the side we're looking at on this side. The reason why is because if you walk off, they can come all the way through. This is where they held the livestock for the city of Charlestown, basically. So they had to keep them reined in. Which means the bricks on the other side are older. They're sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child on the other side and some fingerprint swipes in those bricks. Because those kids literally had to turn them so that way our hot sun can bake them. Now, I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. We're not going to get any activity from it. The only reason I used to point it out is it's part of our history, which I'm sure you guys allege that I'm pretty hip on our history. So, however, November 26th of 2020, my entire group of 10 wanted to huddle around that brick with their handprint in it to see if they can get anything. It was outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion. He was not happy with me. Like, I'm out screaming, wanting to see my license and all of that crazy mess. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. The next day was Thanksgiving. Turkey. Actually, had the word turkey show up. The next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. I told you guys I worked in retail management for over 20 years. I finally took a Thanksgiving off. I'm sure you all can appreciate that, right? I work at Walmart, no less. Yeah, manager for Walmart, 20 plus years. Ridiculous. So, I took that day off. The next day was November 28th of 2020. Yes, these dates mean something, and I'm getting to the point, Jeff. You're staring at me like, seriously, man, get to it. I get a phone call from the tourism office that morning, November 28th. They asked me to go down halfway like everybody else, because that's exactly what that tour is going to do, or to reroute my tour. I told them I'm going to reroute because it's not fair for my 10 to try to investigate around 20 to 60 people in the same skinny space. That's why we hang out here. Oh, you're good. You're good. So I tell my group that night because I don't have a whole lot of history on the location of where we're going. It's a pirate story. I'm not into pirates. I'm a vampire guy through and through. So I was going to wing it, and I told them that. We're going to wing it and see what happens, guys. I'll tell you what I know. I did a little bit of research during that day. Before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating, which was going to be female pirate Anne Bonny. We get there, I told them what I knew, which wasn't much, and again, I didn't believe the story because I didn't have any evidence from it in the past. Somebody hears the number 300 on another spirit box, and I don't know what that means. So the next day I'm doing the research for that team. It turns out we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So now I take you guys there every single night in hopes that we're going to capture the same type of evidence. I will tell you that the Anne Bonny tale that I tell you is comprised of a lot of resources, so if anything else, you're going to learn a hell of a lot about pirates tonight. However, it is a hit or miss with the actual activity. Now, with this group, who knows? Because you guys have been doing fantastic. So we're going to see what's going to go on there. If anything else, like I said, this is a crazy whopper of a story. I don't know how many pirate books I've read to be able to piece this together, but I was looking for things that, like, as far as factual, because it's pirate lore. I went based on at least 2 resources told me these things to be able to verify it as part of what I was going to tell you. So kind of keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the story.
Is this part of the tour?
What's that?
Is this a tour?
It is.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You're good.
You're good. It says over. In the darkest night.
Darkest night.
I just
Do
heard
they have a
a
duel at
confession.
night?
I say we go straight into Anne Bonny instead of doing the myths and legends, like, because I normally do like a little myths and legends kind of thing, and it's not a whole lot of activity. I want to get straight into Anne Bonny with this team. I'm stoked. I want to see what's going to go on. So when we get there, Maddie, if you can remember all of those things that you heard here, I'll write them down before I get into the Anne Bonny story. Well, I'm excited about the left leg and the shot things that you heard.
Yeah,
so, yeah, let's set it this way. Yes, that's a great picture shot, so good job. I was going to ask you to take a perfect shot. And last night was the full moon, which is just to the right of the stage. Yeah, it normally ends up just on the right side. It was a little lower than normal. I actually have a shot where it's pretty close to the top. I use that for social media all the time. Obviously, so I try to get you guys to come in. Alright, so, Philip, you still recording, buddy?
Yes.
Alright, perfect. So, let's get into where we're at and why we're here. So, This little building right here is what we're going to be discussing, just so everybody knows. This is the powder magazine. This held gunpowder for 7 different wars. Oh, by the way, I did write down shot in the leg, and I'm shot. If anything else kind of pops up that you remember that was specific to that location, and also the number 7s that you guys were all hearing are relative to Philadelphia Alley as well. The doctor's birthday is July 7th. 7. Nothing bad. And we also have Allison. So I don't know who the hell these ladies are.
We're right here by the cemetery. So.
We do get a lot of things wrapped around John Calhoun while we're at this location too in the month of March, because he died in March and he was born in March. So he's buried literally on the other side of that wall. And that's usually part of the myths and legends piece they give you from across the street. But I want to focus on the powder magazine. So notice that these crosses on this building, those are not crosses, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we haven't, we've had a couple little rumbles, but nothing drastic. Earthquake bolts are basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, you can turn them, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. I will also point out that those little orange peach squares are also earthquake bolts. They're just, you guys have been seeing them all over town and didn't realize it. They're normally in the shape of pineapples or lion heads or something along those lines. The reason I bring these ones up specifically is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. Why? Because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It's finished in 1713. We're here because this building is familiar to our pirate Anne Bonny when she started her pirate career. So, we talked about those Charlestown walls earlier, did we not? Over at Lodge Alley? So this street behind you where that parking garage is, that's where the wall stood. It went up past the powder magazine and started going to my right, south, towards the battery. The reason it did that is because it kept the gunpowder magazine the furthest into the walls to protect it from any attack from the Revolutionary warships or pirate ships 3 blocks away at the water. Those cannonballs are going to have a hard time making it all the way to this location to be able to destruct it. We're going to pretend that it does. These walls are 32 inches thick too, by the way, so even if it does go through, it's going to have a hard time penetrating the wall. But we're going to pretend that the cannonball goes through and blows up the gunpowder. Underneath those red shingles, those clay shingles that were actually handmade on somebody's kneecap, by the way, so that way they're all uniform, there's sand underneath those. It's designed so that if the gunpowder actually explodes, the sand will go up in the air because it's not going to go out through those thick walls and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder.
So just said gunpowder in the wall, and then you can literally look back. I'm not kidding. I was trying to keep.
I'm gonna have to. You're the one recording.
She just turned around and went. Gunpowder wall, and then I think it's a paint.
The only thing it said for me is pressure.
Pressure. So that would cause the sand to go up. It's kind of vague, but you can see where I'm going. I will tell you.
Talk about gunpowder. That's my knowledge. I was like.
Yeah, I heard pressure like a shot in the leg. Exactly. So I would tell you that this sand in the roof theory does not work either, just like the earthquake bolts. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get attacked because it's obviously closer to the water. The sand went up, but the building burned to the ground, so the sand failed to do its job. I will tell you that the sand is still there from 300 plus years ago because sand does not disintegrate. So if you ever need to get out of our heat or cold here in Charleston, this is a great $5 to spend. Like, it's very historical and it's a cool little 30-minute tour. It's very interesting to see how it's constructed. But again, we're here because of the time period. This is what I call a familiar. It's kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost, right? There's not many buildings this old in Charleston, so that's why we're here. Our story begins in the middle of this building's construction. It took 10 years to build, by the way, 1703 to 1713. Does that sound like our government, 10 years, small building? No, not at all. So, sorry, the adults are usually the only one to get that joke. But at the same time, 1708 is where our story begins. You're going to have to follow me. There's a few twists. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay. The 3 of them are running away from his wife. How angry was she? Just saying, man. Like, you gotta leave your country by boat to get the hell away from her. I only moved from 2 cities down. But at any rate, they land in Georgetown. That's just north of here in between us and Myrtle Beach, just for those of you that aren't from here. Dad buys a plantation, but Mom dies pretty quickly, which means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation to kind of keep things afloat. Hence why we're here. I will tell you that back in Ireland, Anne was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. Like, she was hardcore.
I got stomach right when we walked up here.
You guys are awesome. Again, I'm going to take you guys out everything.
It's 1520 or something.
No, but 20 is definitely relevant in this location.
And I got 20 when we were walking up, remember?
You had 20 back at Pinckney Mansion, I think.
Oh no, it was 4.
Yeah. But 20 is definitely relevant here, and you're going to hear that here in just a moment. Actually, you've already heard it. You know her pirate trial was in 1720.
Oh, that's right.
So, where was I? She was badass, right?
She stabbed her
Got it.
servant
So
when
we're
she was young.
Yeah.
This building was finished in 1713. We're fast forwarding a little bit to get to the cool pirate stuff, because Trenton's like, man, get to the good killing stuff. So, pirates are coming through town in 1715. So, there's your 15, by the way. And she's stoked because she's about 16, 17 years old at this time, and she's going to fall in love pretty quickly. Guy number 1. Yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's that many. So, guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonney. I'm sure all of the adults, we can figure out where this is going, right? So, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Her career started while she was living right here in Charleston area. So, when she gets down there, this guy is not the swashbuckling, rum-drinking Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. Yes, I practiced that in front of the mirror because I can't get it out of my mouth unless I do. So, this guy is a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's relaying back to the British what's going on.
I did get spy.
How long ago?
A little bit ago, I think.
Because again, Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. I normally only get major clues to her while we're here.
Christian.
Sure.
Oh, actually, it was back at the mansion.
Okay. So, this is not the guy that she was hoping for. So she falls in love again a few years later. Guy number 2. This guy is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Yes, this is the same Jack that they based Captain Jack Sparrow's character off of. So, that just sparks up some ears when I say that now. So, Jack has his own ship and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a crew because girls are bad luck to pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, then you could be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to hide her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's okay with this cross-dressing bit, but the other part of that deal with Jack is that she's allowed to be a female in his orders. So adults, let's put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. She's eventually going to get pregnant, right? Can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba. These are friends of mine. They're going to help you deliver the baby. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. She's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry, because now everybody on the crew is going to realize he let a female on the crew. So of course it's going to be bad morale. He also just captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck, and Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be female, dressed like you got to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack just captured. Yes, I have to practice that one as well to make sure it all comes out properly. So yes, that means we also have 2 females dressed like males on the same pirate ship, trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. Now, her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, because we'll never know for certain, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships. Multiple ships are coming after one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet, trying to defend the ship. They're obviously going to get taken. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain in her boat, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." Did you not hear the word dog earlier? Thought so. So, with that said, we're going to go straight to the trial. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought so valiantly by themselves after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up and fight, so they're dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front, they reveal their gender, that they're female. He doesn't care. I know history can be boring. So he doesn't care. Yes, I'm going to call out yawns every time. So he doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. So we plead our bellies was the last thing they claimed and screamed out, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charlestown area with all of his Irish money from when he was a lawyer back home. He bails out Anne, brings her back home again. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because yes, we're going to count Mary. We don't know. And has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending. Jeff's like, what the hell just happened? So, now,
What was his name?
who? The last husband? No idea. Can't find it. I get it, John, but that's about as far as I can get it. Her entire life after her pirate career is a complete mystery, and they're all strewed. Some of them say that she stayed here. Some of them say she moved to Virginia. And again, nobody knows where she's buried. Where
Did she really have a baby in Cuba?
We don't know. I don't know that answer either.
Interesting.
I would tell you, as far as Mary Reed goes, Mary died a year later in 1721 in that Jamaican jail. I'm sure it was nasty and scurvious and bumpy and gross and whatever else you guys want to come up with. Now, as far as questions, there's only 2. Because again, this is pirate stuff. I'm not going to give out a series of questions. I'm only going to give you 2. 2 things I left out purposely that I can actually prove. The names of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. And also the name of Calico Jack's ship. Those are things that I can prove for certain. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to. You guys are awesome at this by now. Like, seriously.
I got drunk.
We're talking pirates. They're all
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, I told you all, Sandy, I'll take that. Stomach. The pride thing was back there. Yeah, I like Sandy because we just talked about the sand in the roof. So, I told you guys at the beginning of this tour that people have passed out in my tours.
Yeah.
So here's where things get a little weird, and you can see where things can get uncanny at the least.
Ooh.
He said they get a little weird and weird.
I normally take my groups to the back ivy wall because the other tours like to pass up through here. I'm sure you notice I like to just stay out of everybody's way, all right? So I take my group back there back in September, and the kid next to me, he's probably, I don't know, 20, 21. I call him a kid still. He's starting to pass out on me. It's a nice, cool night. He's not overdressed. He's not underdressed. Like, he's perfectly fine. But he literally goes as white as your shirt, Jeff, and he starts to drop. So I have to pick him up by his armpit. And his boyfriend picks him up on the other side. We get him over to this wall. We sit him down. I get him a bottle of water. He's doing well. I then tell the story. It's important to know that they have no idea what you guys now know about Anne Bonny. I go spread everybody out with their devices. Them two pull me aside. The guy who passed out and his boyfriend. We have to tell you something. We are two transgender males, meaning I had two females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story.
Oh,
And it
my
made sense as to why one of
goodness.
them passed out the minute we entered the space.
Wow.
These are the things that happen on my tours. Psychics normally don't make it past the Pinky Mansion, especially if the EMF is high in that spot. I don't know how many times I've had to call paramedics. The first time somebody passed out on my tour, I was in CPR class the next day. I carry a first aid kit with me, and I normally have an extra bottle of water just for those kind of instances. However, I forgot my extra bottle of water tonight because I was like, yeah, we'll stop at the Scotchman if anybody needs anything.
Yeah.
It's close enough. But again, as far as cameras go, you guys can go to the front of the Powder magazine if you'd like and get us some photos and camera footage if you'd like. Just make sure you stay out of the way of the other tours. Just kind of wait your turn. They don't.
Sure.
Again, I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry, so I piss off enough people. So don't butt in the way. Yes, sir.
Are we allowed to go over there?
Yeah, we're gonna stay in this area, and I'm gonna chill out over here by the wall, and you guys are gonna do all the work. Laura, I don't know.
Oh, wait,
You gave me a few turns.
Oh gosh.
Hey, we got pride.
We got pride. My mom got pride and then I got lesbian.
Yeah, it's Pride Month.
So
Happy Pride Month to them.
I did get pride. Look, I did it.
Should I turn on the REM pod?
Yes.
Is it? Or should I ask?
One question.
The name of the show. I
Right.
remember the story.
You should ask.
Shane did a video on it.
You should wait. You should ask if the two female pirates were.
Wait, no, don't
I
tell
like
me.
know
Don't
it.
tell
I
me.
like-
I'm not. I don't know the answer.
It
The
was in
name
our
of the
five
show?
minutes dead.
I need to ask.
I don't know the answer.
Oh.
I'm telling you, you need to ask
Okay.
the name
I
of
can
the
show my
show
REM pod.
and the name
Yes.
and the name of her parents. Of Anne's
I'm
parents.
just like, I'm too curious. I know.
Wait, Ava. Ava, do you think the two like female people on the ship were?
Philip, yes.
Should I go by the wall so I can pass out? And be Zach Bagans and provoke anything?
Should I turn on the
Yeah. Ava, what do you see?
I don't think it's on.
Isn't it like the thing on like
Ma'am, can you please tell me the name of your
like
ship?
that one button on the right or something? Yeah.
Yay. Can you make it go higher?
That's
Can you
not.
walk towards me? And Jack? Mr. Pirates?
Make the colors change. Wait, it's a little like.
They need to do it so they can do it again.
Yeah.
Dude, it's all
Should we go in front of like the powder or like the sand thing, like the gunpowder magazine? Oh, is that the sand that they have in the room?
the 300-year-old sand just like. I think
Did
that
it
was
move?
one of those. Can you do that again if that was you?
Want to see me doing it again?
Dude, come
What
towards
color
me.
did it go to?
Like, it was just like this.
Oh. Okay. Do you want to go like over here?
And And what was the name of your parents?
I didn't know like that's how the spirit box like works.
What do you mean?
Like it's just like picks up like something from like a certain like radio like I obviously like
Sometimes,
under
like there's words between stations. Like that's
like I obviously like got it, but like now like it's like you know.
I'm getting like nothing. Yeah, let's go. We don't want to go too far.
We can go over here. Did you go in front of like the building?
Yeah.
I want to go.
I did hear like the moves like Jagger whistling. It was earlier.
Help him.
It was more like
Chloe.
What are you doing?
Ah, ghost.
I'm trying to focus, that's why.
Clay,
Wait,
well,
go hide. Wait, watch out.
technically he can hear you
Can
because
you
I'm
come towards
recording.
me?
Oh, true. What?
Change the color.
Stop. Don't. I'm not talking to you.
What's the number? Just nothing.
It's been 0 the entire time. So. Okay, we're getting closer.
Let's go over here. Ghostbusters.
Mom, whose parents? Yeah. What are the names? What is the name of your parents and tell me?
Alright, yeah, let's go over here.
Oh, this is. Wait, guys.
Ghost!
It's getting higher. I don't know if I'm just on something.
Probably your phone.
I hate the night mode.
So, should we go over here? I want to go over there. Let's go. Ava. Let's go over here.
Wait, but oh, those might be the meters.
Oh yeah, true.
Okay, let's get out of the way.
Facts. Imagine you heard that on the spirit box. I'm such a
It's weird
good.
that I'm walking now and it's not moving because remember when?
Why am I such a good cameraman though? I thought if I was the cameraman, it would be like this, Ava.
I want to get closer to the.
And I would either like to know the name of your parents or the name of your ship.
You should start speaking in Spanish. Yo quiero saber el nombre de tus padres. Barry Bonds.
Oh, it's getting higher over here.
That's
I don't know if it's just the.
Might be
No, it's the
that.
power line. Give me something, please.
Give me liberty or give me death.
I don't know, all I heard was left.
Whoa!
Did you hear that? That's really weird.
I got something about the sea, and then
Oh.
Then earlier, like
I got behind. I got behind.
Barry? You guys are getting a lot of watery type terms. Any readings coming out of yours? Any motion, color?
No.
I got white.
It was
Have
talking
white
about
and
paint
sail.
too.
Sales, right when you were talking, when you were talking about shortly after that.
I love always getting like the easiest job in group activities.
White and then Sandy. That's why I asked what the fourth person was. Because white.
Again, the only name that I think I remember from looking out to it, I think you could verify.
Change the color, por favor.
The front of it. I'll go with.
Okay.
You guys gonna check out the front?
Yeah.
Ava, do you wanna-
I took a couple of pictures.
Ava.
And then we'll meet up back here. We'll close it up after you guys are done up there.
Sounds good.
Should I?
Going up a lot, but it's probably just the power line.
Ava, should I start vlogging? We're going to the front of like the. Oh wait, how much is it?
I don't want to. This is me.
Wait, can you just go like this?
Wait, fuck.
Ow.
So Philip, turn your camera this way.
Whoa. Building. Okay, wait. Sorry. Hi. Oh.
Look, the pillory. Take a picture of this. Oh, the pillory.
Ava. Hey, what's up?
It's me.
Bye. No. Eva.
And Casey's telling
Stop
me
it, it's recording. You don't.
Somebody want to grab Maddie? She's off in the distance down there.
I got her.
Ava, how's my cinematography?
So, we had some good stuff, a lot of like watery terms. So like, we had sail, we had on the sea, we had like a lot of watery type, we had the word drunk, very piratey type stuff. We had a claim of Anne, and I was hoping you would have been near Dad so that way he could have heard it. So, before I collect devices, of course, I'm going to give you the answers. So, of course, the only way I can remember to give you the answers is to show you what Anne Bonny looked like. So Anne Bonny, this is one of the few pictures, by the way, that I can find of her with a shirt on. I get a lot of teenage boys on this tour, and I don't need angry moms. The reason why she'd be topless in any other photo is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So, again, she did that purposely. I told you she was badass. So, again, everybody likes to kind of depict her as the voluptuous vixen, right? Red hair, green eyes, from Ireland kind of thing. I've seen other pictures of her where she doesn't look so attractive as a pirate in this, where she would look a little mannish. But again, I just provided a hero.
Ooh.
Look at me. Oh, angry face. So I just provided a hero for you, so of course I had to find a heroic picture. The name of her parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a second Mary, because we already had Mary Reed. I do that purposely. Again, I wasn't trying to subliminal message you, but I wanted you to not look for Mary, because I did play that trick on you earlier tonight. So again, keep that in mind. I also like to show you Calico Jack, because again, this is clearly Captain Jack Sparrow, based on his character. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets he wore. It came from the British captains that he killed. So again, calico meaning fancy, fancy jacket. So kind of take that of Calico Jack. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. Was I expecting Kingston to come through a spirit box? Not unless it was Trenton's, because he's getting the disembodied voices mainly. But I do expect the word king to show up somewhere. I don't get it very often, but I still have you guys ask on a nightly basis to see if it'll actually pop up or not. Again, the word king would be very weird to hear on the radio because we don't talk about monarchy here.
Right.
So, again, these are the types of things that I study and the way I look at things. Now, I also like to show you the new evidence that we've captured with Philip's device. So you guys can stop your videos, by the way.